Hi guys, Martin here, Man City Fan TV. Wanted to come and do a video today all about my time as a Manchester City fan and go through some of the good, the bad and the ugly. And if you're a Manchester City fan of anything more than 15 or 20 years, you know exactly what I mean by the ugly. You know, believe me, the younger fans, it wasn't all trophies at one point. City used to dream of going to Wembley, dream of it, never mind going 10, 12 times in the last how many years. We were dreaming of going to Wembley once in the last like 20 odd years. So come along, join me on my journey of Manchester City and let's recall some of the good, the bad and the ugly. I want to start with my first ever match as a Manchester City fan. Now, I've been a Blue since I was a kid for a long, long time. My father was a Blue. Funnily enough, that's another story, but my father was offered a contract by City once. But like I said, that's a whole different story to do and a whole different day. But I'd been begging my dad for absolute ages to take me to a City game, and he just wouldn't do it, you know, because of work commitments. He was always working on a weekend. And back then, football was a Saturday. You know, on the odd occasion, it was a Sunday. You know, football wasn't, you know, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Friday, and everything else in between. It was literally Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. And one day, my dad just said, I'm going to take you out. So I go, oh no, where are we going? What are we doing here? You know, wouldn't tell me where we were going. Just told me to wrap up warm. I remember him taking a flask with him. You know, back in them days, you took flasks of coffee with you. I know some fans still do. It's harder to get in the ground though now. But yeah, back then, you used to take a little flask of coffee and two mugs or two plastic cups. And he used to take a bag of mints with him. I think it was like Everton mints. You know, Cal, calm down. I don't mean Everton, the football club. I mean the mint. Yeah, so we started driving. And we still wouldn't tell me where we were going. And then we got, you know, to near my side, and there was more and more people around. There was City fans wearing the scarf, the shirt, and then it sort of clicked in my head. We were going to Main Road, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, no, it isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. We're going to end up just going to the superstore or something. Well, I say superstore, yeah, going to the club shop. That looked like a little 5x5 square room, really, with nothing in it. But yeah, I thought that's what we were doing. And no, we were actually going to my first ever game, which was Coventry City at home at Main Road. We won 1-0, and I remember David White, who was my favourite player at the time, scored the goal. Steven Grizovic come out, dropped the ball, and David White pounced like a cat onto the ball. And the back of the net rippled, and I just went mad. Sat in the main stand. Yes, anyone who knows me now, I sit in the Colin Bell, the Etihad, which is the equivalent of the main stand, and I was in the main stand then as well, but I could remember the smell, I could remember everything, you know, everything. It was, I wore my scarf, you know, because I always wore my City scarf, even when I wasn't doing it. I thought, you know, wear my City scarf, because it was a cold day, my dad told me to wrap up. But yeah, it was just marvellous. I was like, you know, shell-shocked, absolute like awestruck looking at these players in front of me, thinking, wow, I'm really here. And yeah, so that was my first ever game as a Manchester City fan. And trust me, it didn't get any better for much, much longer. But we'll get more into that as we go along. One of my first early memories of Manchester City, one of my favourite early memories of Manchester City, was the 95-96 season, believe it or not. The season we got relegated out of the Premier League, as many of you know, the Alan Ball season, as many of you called it. And it started with so much promise. You know, we bought a little Georgian, unknown Georgian, for £2 million by the name of George Kinkladze, who became, or still is, one of my all-time favourite players. Absolutely loved him. Francis Lee, chairman at the time, stumped up the cash for him out of his own pocket and bought Gio out of his contract from Dynamo Tbilisi and brought him over to Manchester. The little Georgian wore the number 7 shirt. He absolutely adored him. And I think what was so exciting about that season was I'd never seen a player like that. I'd never seen a player he looked, he looked like he was conducting an orchestra the way he was on the pitch for me at the time. Granted, didn't do it every single game, not at all. He sort of did it when he wanted to do it, cold, wet, as the old saying goes, cold, wet, rainy nights in Port Vale, or, weren't Gio's style. Didn't want to do it. You kicked him, he didn't want to know. But, that was the season where, for me, the greatest ever City goal I've seen was scored against Southampton. He took on 5-6 players, had like the ball on a piece of string on the end of his foot, and then the cheeky little chip over Dave Besson was it was like the icing on the cake. It was just out of this world, to what I thought anyway. But, we got relegated at the end, but the season was so good because it was just, for me, we started off badly. I think we picked up 1 point in the first 2-3 months of the season. 1 point. And you think, and that was an opening game against Tottenham, 1-1 draw, where Uwe scored an equaliser early on in the game. And then you just think to yourself, how's that one of your greatest memories? I think it was because it was my last year in the main stand and I was moving over to the Kippax the season after, no matter which season we were in. But it was the games, it was a 3-3 against Newcastle. Newcastle were going for the league that year, absolutely going for the league, and we were fighting relegation. And Kevin Keegan's Newcastle played fantastic football. Philippe Albert scored a brace that game, and we just kept clawing them back, and eventually it was 3-3, but that was up there as one of my greatest ever games, with probably the season with the greatest ever goal. And as much as, yes, it ended in absolute sorrow with the relegation down to the as they called it then, the nationwide First Division, as it was about to be called. It used to be the Ensley First Division. It was going to be rebranded the nationwide First Division, which City would host their first game of the ever season on a Friday night against Ipswich Town. Won 1-0. Stevie Lomas winner. But yeah, the 95-96 season was a season that I enjoyed. Not because we got relegated, but because of the moments that just, it's my favourite game, my favourite goal. So that's why that season's up there as one of the best memories for me. Funnily enough, it's not all about the trophies. Sometimes it's about the memories. And that's exactly what that season was. It was a memory that will live for me forever. So let's get into the not so good memories, shall we say now. First major one was, obviously we're getting relegated out of the Premier League. That was a bad one. But the first major one for me was 14th of February, I think it was 1997. Frank Clark was in charge. Funnily enough, this was now Frank Clark's last ever game in charge of Manchester City. He'd taken over. Finally, we got a replacement in from Alan Ball, who'd been sacked earlier on in the season after a poor start to the First Division. We'd had Asa Hartford, Phil Neal, Steve Coppell for a cup of tea all of 33 days being managers, but Frank Clark became the full-time permanent manager to take over from Alan Ball, and he didn't last very long. He was, Bury FC. Came to Main Road and beat us 1-0. And it was just, it broke my heart because, and this is no disrespect, you looked at Bury, I think they had about 500 fans up in the corner in the north stand where the away fans used to be situated, and you just think, they were celebrating like it was the World Cup final. And Manchester City just got beat by them. And of all the days, the day of love, Valentine's Day, and you could tell the atmosphere was in the air. You could tell Frank Clark's days were numbered. By the end, the fans were doing that, that slow, sombre clap that you do when you're sort of protesting. And it was like an air of acceptance that he was done. And it made me realise, the first time, what am I doing being a Man City fan? What am I doing? Getting beat by Bury, never mind Man United. Getting beat by Bury, what's going on? And it just, it wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. In fact, I still look back now and think, what were we doing? What were we doing? We just weren't good. Come to think of it, I think it was 98 actually. I think it was February 14th, 1998. We got relegated. Not relegated, we got beat by Bury. Sorry, my mistake. I'm just trying to remember everything as I'm going back. Yeah, so it was February 98, 14th, when we got beat by Bury. So yeah, that was my first proper downtrodden moment as a Manchester City fan, and one that that's going to let you can tell is living with me forever and ever. Now, not everything was going to be bad from there on in. We eventually lost Frank Clark as a manager, and we got Big Joe Royle came in, took over from Frankie Clark, and started the City revival in a way. You know, we gave us promise. We thought we were out of this relegation battle. And I loved Joe Royle. Didn't like his style of football, but I loved the way he was a former Blue. He got the club. He got everything about it. He understood the fans. He was the one who came up with City-itis, if you remember. You know, if anything goes wrong, it's going to be Man City, because that's the way we were back then. You know, it was always the glass was half empty. It was never half full, it was half empty. Yeah. But Joe Royle tried. He tried and tried. You know, he was dealing with 54 professionals at the time that he didn't know. I think it was 54, maybe slightly more. You know, he was finding players from around the corner of the building that he didn't even know existed. He thought they were cleaners, and they were actually players that were on the books, you know, funnily enough, as the old story goes. But yeah, you know, we had to deal with protests to get Francis Lee out. There was chants after every home game outside the main stand. The police were there. It was chaos, absolute chaos. Because City were just not used to this. We weren't used to this downward spiral that we were going on, and there was no way out of it. We were going down fast. But Joe Royle gave us that hope, and for the first time in a year or so, I felt, yes, we've got someone here, we're going. Little did I know, though, that it was a bit of a false dawn. We were going down, and we were going to go down hard. League One, the old Division 2 trapdoor was opening, and we were going to go into it, I'm afraid. And that was my second part of my downfall. Said to you it was going to be the good, the bad. Here's the ugly. Went to Stoke City. I went to, at the time, the new Britannia Stadium. They just moved out of the old Victoria Park, gone to a brand new all-seater stadium at the outskirts of Stoke. You know, just go, you know, on your way to Uttoxeter. At Stoke, the Britannia Stadium, lovely stadium, not huge, but it was nice, it was new, and we took thousands there that day. Bright sunshine, and we beat them 5-2. Absolutely stuffed them 5-2. But yeah, we ended up going down, unfortunately, because results didn't go our way. We just, you know, no matter what we did on that day, we were going down. We could have won 25-0. We were going down. And I don't blame Joe. I blame Frank Clark and others before him. That was the problem. So yeah, we were going from the good, the bad. We were now going into the major ugly. So here we were, League One, York, Macclesfield, Blackpool, Wrexham, all the luxurious resorts were waiting for us and all us Blues to appear. And yeah, it was going to that outback of everything around the country. No offence to those, you know, those clubs. You know, City were just not used to it. Us as fans were not used to it. But the one thing we did get, and I noticed and I loved about this season, was it was the humour and the togetherness that the City fans got. You know, we could tell it was never about trophies. We were laughing, we were joking. It's where the song "We're Not Really Here" came from, because we were going to, like, you know, Colchester and Bristol Rovers, and we were packing it out with, you know, we were having to put fans in the home end because we were taking that many fans with us to away games. Every time we turned up at a ground, it was like their FA Cup final. Man City, the big boys were coming, and we loved it. As much as I loved winning the Premier League and winning FA Cups and winning the League Cups, I look back on this season, on the 98-99 season, as an absolute treat. And I hate saying that, but I really enjoyed it. I absolutely really enjoyed it because we were just being us. It wasn't about anything apart from you were blue, you bled blue, and that's what it was about. And it was the humour and the togetherness and the banter you had with all your fellow blues. And I remember me and my dad and my sister were going all over the country watching him, and it was great. Absolutely great. Packing out Main Road, 34,000 fans at Main Road nearly all the time, and we didn't even start that season well, and then we're going to the playoffs, and then the big one, Wigan, playoff semi-final, second leg. We drew one each at Springfield Park at the time, I think it was called. Stuart Barlow scored an early goal, again, through a City mistake, ironically enough. Every time the opposition scored a lot at that time, it was through our own doing. It was never through the skill of the opponent. It was our own stupid downfall that was causing it. Paul Dickoff got us back, and then we went back to Main Road. And I remember it. The atmosphere was electric. It was under the lights. It was absolutely amazing. I was shaking. It was just amazing. And then Sean Goat scored the goal. I'm going to admit on camera now, it was handball. If you look back, he put it in with his arm. Yeah, it was. But we're there. Full-time whistle went. Pitch invasion. I ran on the pitch with my sister. It was great. Running on the pitch. I was in the Kipax back then. It was great. Absolutely great. City were back. And we were on our way to Wembley. We were just going to Wembley. We didn't care. We were going to Wembley under Joe. And we were taking Joe and the boys. We're off to Wembley. The old Twin Towers. United were on the verge of a treble. We were on our way to Wembley and we didn't care. We sang a song on the pitch. You can stick your something treble up your something, you know what. And, if anyone was there, the chant. We sang that on the pitch. And, those were great, great times, just going to Wembley again. I'd never been. My first ever trip to Wembley. And boy, was it going to be a day to never, ever forget. So there we are. May time, I think it was the bank holiday weekend. We were on our way down to Wembley, getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning to travel down. Me, my brother, my nephews, my sister, my dad went down by coach. Got a milkshake from McDonald's at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Believe it or not, 5 a.m. it was. 5 between 5 a.m. I think the coach left about 5:30 from the other side of Moston it was. And then off we went. Wembley, we got there, Twin Towers, and it was an awful game. It was awful. I remember the highlight of the game, for the first 90 minutes was seeing at the beginning, seeing Uwe Rosler on the steps with a bottle of Carlsberg in his hand, cheering, come on, City, and we all cheered. That was the highlight of that one. But then the 90 minutes was over and we went to the 91st minute. We were 2-0 down. And everyone around me, we're leaving. And I turned to my mate who was with us and I went, we ain't leaving. Said, I don't care. We're at Wembley for the first time. I'm staying here every single second. And there was thousands leaving. And then Kevin Orlock, 91st minute, bang, straight in. Rasper. Couldn't have hit it any sweeter. Straight down the middle. Daisy cutter right into the net. Net balls 2-1. And then we were there then. 93rd, 94th, 95th minute, Paul Dickoff passed his best man, Vince Bartram, 2-2, and just went wild. And then it was the celebrations. But what I remember about that was the penalties were at our end and it was amazing. But it was then became a bit of a blur after that. One thing I do remember M people moving on up, coming on the tannoy, and I remember rocking all over the world. Coming on the tannoy and just singing along to it, not caring. The players bowing in front of us. We were bowing to them. They were bowing to us because they knew we were, like I said, we were a unit that year. We were a spirit. We were a community. And boy, were we gone our way back. So yeah, as you can see, we've gone from the good, the bad, the ugly. We're starting to go good again. But Wembley 99, that will forever ever be in my heart, and I'll be telling that to my grandchildren and hopefully my great-grandchildren. It's magical, absolutely magical, and you can see by the smile on my face that I send shivers down my spine now thinking about that day, and I just love it. So Wembley 99 was very, very good. City were on the climb back. The next thing I'm going to talk about is actually a player. That was one of my big memories. Of course, Blackburn was a big member this season after Wembley, where we got promoted at Blackburn and took 15,000. It was great, but I don't know why. There was something about it that I couldn't quite get into with the Blackburn. I loved it. We were going back, but you know when you felt like you just weren't ready to go to the Premier League. I think that's what it was. I wasn't too sure. Is this a season too soon? You know, the year before we were in the League One and we were going back to the Premier League, which is where we thought as fans we deserved. But was we going too soon? And maybe that's why it's never been a great memory of mine. But, you know, it was getting them promoted. When we got promoted into the Premier League, we signed George Weah. Yeah. Former World Player of the Year, George Weah. That stands out because that was, and I'll tell you why, there's a story behind why that stands out. We had the IDOS shirt at the time, the home one, the Lecoq Sportive. It was like laser blue with white sleeves. And I went and got George Weah 22. It was Weah 22 put on the back. You know, look at me, George Weah. You know, former AC Milan superstar. And then he left. He left after about 7 weeks. Didn't want to be at City anymore, you know. Probably looked around and thought, what am I doing here? And Richard Dunn got signed. Richard Dunn came in from Everton for, I think it was about 3 million at the time. And he took over the 22 shirt from George Weah. So I had to go down to Main Road and have the shirt changed. So they gave me a brand new shirt in the end. At first, they were going to take Weah off and just put Dunn over the top, but you could see the outline of Weah. So I asked him, you know, well, I'm going to be honest, my dad, because I was 16, 17, my dad had words, and I got a new shirt. We've done 22, because I had to have done 22. That was the only way I got the new shirt. As much as, you know, the Dunny Monster was amazing, you know, Richard Dunninho, we all loved him. At the time, he wasn't my favourite player. So I ended up with Richard Dunn on the back of my shirt, believe it or not. So, yeah, that's why that was a little bit of a good, funny story for me, really, that one. You know, I went from George Weah to Richard Dunn on my shirt. Could only happen to a City fan. Let's get to the memory you're all going to be thinking I was going to jump at straight away. The takeover. You know, sat watching Sky Sports News at home. You know, thinking City aren't going to sign anybody at all today. And then it broke. City have been taken over by this Abu Dhabi royal family, absolute, you know, world superstars. And then the list came out. We were buying Ronaldo, we were buying Messi, we were buying everybody was going to come. And the day was crazy. Went from Berbatov and everything else. And then I think it was like 11 o'clock at night or something, 10:30 at night. Sat there with my partner and my children. And the news came on the screen. City were in talks with Robinho. Now, Robinho had been linked with Chelsea all day and all through the summer, to the point where they were even selling Robinho shirts on the Chelsea website, or on some football website anyway. So Robinho and City were just never even thought of. And then Robinho signed, and me and my son got in the car, raced down to the Etihad, and Robinho was signed, and I was on Sky Sports News. I didn't get interviewed, but I was in the background, you know, when the reporters are there. And I was in the background jumping up and down. We've got Robinho, you know, we've got Robinho. And it's the way it was going. And it was just magical, absolutely magical. Robinho was at City. That was like 12 hours of madness. We just couldn't understand what was going on. This was Man City. You know, not only have we gone from Main Road to the City of Manchester Stadium or the Etihad to, you know, Sean Goater up front to Robinho up front. It was surreal. It was weird. But that was a day and a half. I think it's because me and my son ended up on TV with it as well by the end. That was a magical, magical day. A weird day, but a magical day. So, the greatest game of all time I ever went to. 2012. QPR at home. Sun was shining, and I was there with my dad, my brother, my nephews. My sister had stopped going at this point. Yeah, that was a day and a half. I remember my nephew had the Balotelli hat. If anyone saw it, it was the hat with about 10, looked like cow udders on the top. That was a bit crazy. He just wore it one day into training. My nephew had that on. And I didn't sit with my dad then. Me and my dad had separated off. My dad was in the posh seats of the Colin Bell, and I'd moved over, still in the Colin Bell, but I was over a bit towards the family stand, as it was. Sat with these guys, and we were all like nervous, nail biting. We didn't know what was going to happen. I'd never been in this situation. You know, final day of the season, I'm thinking, you know, I'm hoping we're going to stay up, not we're going to win a league. You know, didn't know what was going on. And then the madness ensued. Now, I can't tell you a lot about the actual day because it was a blur. It was a bit of a blur. And if anyone who was there, you'll know what I mean. It was the biggest blur going. And I can't even remember the Aguero goal live. Because all I remember is being numb, being absolutely numb till the 93rd minute. I was with 93 seconds. And then just pure, absolute adrenaline rush of joy and happiness, and everyone around me kissing and hugging, and just, I ended up under my seat. I ended up over my seat. I ended up 5 rows down below. It was just, yeah, it was just madness. And then the whistle blew, and again, ran on the pitch to celebrate, you know, right in front where the guy had, oi, Fergie, we're having a party, you know, not in my lifetime. It was just madness, utter madness. And that day, I've got, yeah, I think, you know, that was I cried before relegation, but this was tears of joy. And funnily enough, when we did it under Pellegrini, I didn't feel that. In 2014, when we beat West Ham 2-0, I didn't feel the same excitement. I just didn't. I wasn't like, yes, oh yes, we won the league. It was good we won the league, but I don't know whether because it hadn't been done in that fashion. It wasn't done with a last-minute winner. You know, you look at City's histories, and me, every game I've been at, Wembley 99, last-minute winner. Blackburn was the last day. QPR was the last day. West Ham was the last day, but the game just didn't feel as exciting as all the others. You know, it was a bit flat, believe it or not. It was great winning the league, but it was just a bit flat still. Still had a pitch invasion went on, was a bit smaller. The celebrations went on, they were a bit calmer. It was just a bit weird, I don't know why. But yeah, 2012, wow. It's still, I'm filling up now. It's and not because Mike's put it on, I'm thinking of everything that was involved that day, and it was great. Absolutely great. Absolutely amazing. Tell you what, being a City fan, tell you what it does give you. Stories to tell your grandchildren. So here we are, the Pep era. The Pep era of now. You know, the 100 points, winning the league. It was out of this world. I went to Southampton with my partner the last game of the season, where we won the 100 points. And that was totally different from 2014, because even though we'd won the league, you know, we so many games to spare, and we all think there's nothing to play for. We had that Centurions to play for. And when Gabby scored that lob at the end, that was, me and my partner went mad. It was another one, magical. You know, I seem to always been there for the key magical moments. You know, I've had a season skip of nearly 30 years, which you expect, you know. But Pep, greatest manager I've ever seen at Manchester City. So yeah, you know, being a City fan, we've had relegations, we've had singing and dancing, we've had all sorts, you know, stands have come down, stands have gone up, we've moved stadiums, we've gone from winning nothing to winning everything, we've gone from going to Wembley once a year in our life, you know. 99, we'd never been to Wembley. I was going to Wembley and I thought, wow, this could be the only time I ever go. we now go 12 times, 12, 13, 14 times, however many times we've been now. So yeah, all I'm going to say as a City fan, it's never boring, but don't ever take it for granted, because all these good times could soon turn to the bad times again. And that's why I always say, remember where you've come from, because one day you might end up back there. But as we saw in '99, being a City fan isn't just about winning trophies. It's about being part of a community, being part of a family, and bleeding blue. And that is certainly something that I am. I'm a Mancunian born and bred, thanks to my dad and my family. All my kids now support City, my family support City, my partner supports City. What more can I ask for? As the saying goes, City till you die. And that's certainly what we are. So those are just some of my memories of the good, the bad and the ugly of being a Manchester City fan. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it, telling it. If you want me to let you know in the comments below what you guys thought about it, maybe share some of your good, bad and ugly memories of Manchester City. Let us know in the comments below. Please remember to keep your notifications switched on, and they are to public, not private, so you know when there is a video uploaded, you are notified straight away. And subscribe to the Man City Man TV. That'd be brilliant. Hit that bell icon. And guys, the only thing I've got to say, as I say every single video I've ever done, as always, up the Blues. I'll see you later.